Greetings everybody, Nick DiVirgilio here in my office at Sweetwater, and today's video is Reverb plugins that sound amazing on drums. As with most things software related in music, there are a ton of options. With Reverbs, that's certainly the case. I think most of us, engineers, music makers, mixers, anybody that makes music in a computer, we find our favorite plugins and we stick with them. And the software manufacturers, the companies, they utilize the technology of the day in such an amazing way. We can utilize their technology and get reverbs from the old classics, just like we were in the room back in the 70s, 60s, the 80s. Some of those huge hardware units, they model them so amazingly well that it's like having those actual pieces of gear in the studio with us. They're just in our computer. All right, let's dive right into it. I'm not going to talk too much in this video. I want you to hear the reverbs. And in order to keep this video somewhat short, I've picked 6 reverb plugins. That's a lot right there, because in each of these plugins, there are a ton of presets. The presets are cool. I would always suggest to just start with the presets and then tweak from there. You can certainly custom make a reverb from the ground up if you like doing that, but these companies work really hard to give you presets that work right out of the box. So all you have to do is just turn them on, and then if you want to tweak from there. I think it saves quite a lot of time. So I've picked a few of my favorite presets in each plugin, and let's check it out. Okay, the first plugin we're going to check out now is the Abbey Road Chambers plugin from Waves. Abbey Road, one of the most legendary studios of all time. And you get some of their reverbs in this plugin. Very cool. All right, I told you about presets. Lots of great presets here. So here's the plugin right there. I chose this first one is under the Abbey Road section and drum loop vibes. Now we're going to hear this reverb on the whole kit. Okay, this is going through the whole drum set, and it sounds pretty cool. Here we go. All right, this is the drums dry. Drums recorded here at Sweetwater Studio, so they're high quality recordings, great mics, great room, all of that stuff. And now I'll unmute the reverb, and here we go. Oh. Dry. Yeah, that one sounds really good. Now, on to the next preset. The next preset is from Dave Pensato, and this one's cool. Chamber Drums Perk Mono. Check out how the reverb is right in the center. Here we go. Right there. Dry. I pulled back the fader a little bit. Really cool. It's fun to have reverbs, not always in stereo. You want to give space to the drums. It's about depth and all of that kind of stuff. And sometimes the verb is great to be right mono, right here. And then you go to the chorus of the song or something like that, then spread it out wide. There's lots of tricks like that, so don't be afraid to pull it into the center sometimes. Last but not least is from the great Chris Lord-Alge, and this one's called Drumstone Room, and now I have to pull the dry wet knob to about 50 because there's a slap back coming on this preset, which is awesome. Check it out. Dry. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I pulled the fader back just a little bit. That is a great sound, especially on the toms right there. Check it out one more time. I'll start with it off. Hear the dry sound. Now, I'm looking for some space, and just that little bit of slap is so cool. Imagine that in a track with guitars and everything like that. It could be a great effect. This is a really cool preset. Here we go. Whoa, really cool. Now check out the toms. Oh, man. That is a great preset. Now let's check out that same Chris Lord-Alge preset, except this time the reverb is only going to be sent to the toms, the snare, and the kick drum instead of the whole drum kit. You get a little bit of a different flavor like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. The reverb setup like this is just a little bit less. It's more precise on specific instruments. Really, if I was going to do this again, I'd probably turn off the reverb on the kick drum, or at least bring it down, but I'm just going to mute it right now. Let's check it out again, except this time with just the snare and the toms. See that? The snare is a little more in your face. You can really hear that slap back, and the kick drum's not getting in the way. Yeah. That's a really cool way to affect your drum track. Just send the reverb or whatever, delay, any kind of sound, phasers, doesn't matter, to specific instruments, and then dial in the amount of each one. Next plugin to check out here is a fantastic one from Mr. Chris Lord-Alge, one of the most sought-after mix engineers on planet Earth. He's mixing every day, tons of songs all the time, and he's made some great plugins for Waves, and I like this one a lot. The one we're going to check out, the preset we're going to check out right now, is called Rooms. He has a lot of rooms in his plugin here, and this is just Rooms number 1. But listen how much depth you get out of the drum track right out of the box. And this is the whole drum track going through the plugin. Okay, check it out. That's dry. I'm going to put up the fader, and here comes the reverb. That sounds good. Now, I'm not EQing anything. The drums are completely dry, just like we recorded them, so you might want to tailor off a little bit of low end, do some high-pass filtering, so you got to get rid of a little bit of the mud. But right now, just listening to these presets and these reverbs, you're hearing the drums completely flat, just like they were recorded. The next preset we're going to check out inside CLA Epic is, I'm going to slay this person's name, and I really apologize. It's a tough one. I thought my last name was a tough one. This was a tough one. Emre, E-M-R-E, Razmanoglu. I think that's kind of it. It's a great drummer, mixer, engineer from London. I definitely know the guy's drummer, but I don't know how to pronounce his last name correctly. What I do know is that he makes a mean preset inside of this reverb plugin. So let's check that out, and I'll just stop trying to just totally mess up his last name. Forgive me, man. Here we go. This one's called Drum Strands, by the way. Here we go. Start with the dry, and we'll go. Here it comes. Nice delay in there. Now this preset we'll check out when we go back the other way and we're just hearing the verb on the snare and toms and kick drum. We'll do that in just a second. But a nice delay. It's already in sync. So if you got some other things going on, like some sequences and stuff, this could be a really cool preset to use in your song. And what's also cool is that you're hearing the delays in other parts of the stereo spectrum here, right? So I'm hearing the slap of the snare in my left side and the kick drum in my right side. Again, a very cool effect. Last but not least, from the CLA plugin is another artist preset from Ike Avename. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly as well. And this one's called Drum Bus Spread. A very cool sound. Check it out. Dry. Here comes the reverb. This one is really cool because it sounds like the drums are all of a sudden in a space, like in a big hall or an arena of some sort. You can hear it just sort of reflecting off the sides. A very cool sound. So now I went back to the spread out version of this drum track, and I want to listen to that second plugin we listened to from Emre Razmanoglu. And I just want to hear the verb on the toms. Check it out. It's just going to let the toms spread apart in a little bit of a delay, reverb sound, and give them some depth between the cymbals and the kick and snare. Check it out. Dry. Not bad, but a very cool sound. Reverb number 3 is from Avid. This is the Space Convolution Reverb, and this one does some amazing things. And again, I'll mention it, the presets, the amount of presets you get in this one plugin is absolutely enormous. So the first sound we're going to hear is from Digital Reverbs, and inside that is a thing called Room Simulator. It says it right here. And inside that is called Ship Submarine. Check out what this does to the whole drum track. It's pretty awesome. I'm going to start it with the dry, and then I'll just turn it on, and it'll just check out the sound. Really cool. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa. Back dry again. What a sound. Let's hear that same verb on a regular groove. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. It sounds like you're in a submarine. You're like engulfed in a big steel submarine. It's pretty neat. Next preset to check out is a nice classic reverb sound. You get tons of halls and chambers and all that kind of stuff in the Space plugin here. So this is halls, Macaw Hall, and then there's a bunch of presets within that. And this one is 15 M5 Macaw Stage Tier 1. Nice classic reverb sound. Here we go. Dry. Now hear what it does to the snare drum. Nice space there. Really beautiful sound. This next preset I'm going to show you is really awesome. You get some great weird and effecty kinds of reverbs in the Space plugin here. This is under the weird preset of presets. And inside that you have a ton of sound options. We're going to go with tape anomaly. Check this out. This one's fun. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa. Oh, man. That is an awesome effect. One last preset to show you from the Space plugin here. We're going to go with the classic EMT 140 reverb. Now this is back to where the reverb is spread out and just on the snare and toms. And it's a really clean, classic reverb sound. Check it out. Nice and dry. Here it comes. 2, 3, 4. Yeah. I really like that one. It's basic, but it's what reverb is all about. It just gives the drums that nice breathing air and some depth to the sound. Next reverb to check out here in our great reverbs for drums is from FabFilter. FabFilter makes awesome plugins. Their compressors, their EQs, and of course their reverbs here. This one is the Pro-R reverb. The first preset I want to show you here is called Fat Ambience. Funny name, of course, but it's just adding a little bit of weight. Not a ton of ambience, just a little bit of, it just makes the drums fatter sounding. Check it out. Starting clean, and then I'll turn it on. Here we go. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Back off. Back on. What a cool sound, just giving a little bit more weight to the drum sound. Next preset to check out is called Tight Small Room. Now this one does a lot more than the Fat Ambience preset. This gives a lot of weight in the low end. So if you have this on your speakers at home, maybe you'd roll off a little bit, do a high pass filter thing, but we're going to check this out. You could see here on the preset that the low end is boosted and it gives a lot of weight down there. Check out this sound. It is neat. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. Dry. Wet. Now, in that tom thing, did you hear how the tom was going bunk-a-tuk-a-doom, bunk-a-tuk-a-doom? That's a really beautiful sound, and that's being helped out by this reverb plugin. So if that's an effect you want to go for in your song, you could easily get it with this preset right here. Last but not least, from the Pro-R plugin here is the 8th note fat slap. This one I've spread out to where it's just on kick, snare, and toms, and it also adds that low-end girth to the sound plus a slap. This is a great effect. Check it out. Oh. I love these kinds of effects because, depending on what kind of music you're making, of course, this can really add a lot of just spice, the extra ear candy, the special sauce. You have so many choices with these great plugins. The next plugin to show you is from our friends at Universal Audio. This is the UADX Lexicon 224 Digital Reverb. Now, Universal Audio have modeled all of these great old pieces of gear to such perfection. The Lexicon 224 was a very sought-after reverb back in the day. The hardware pieces were in every studio, and they have made just pristine models of these reverbs. It's a classic reverb sound that's been used on countless records, and now we all have the chance to get that same sound on our music. This version of the plugin will work in any DAW. You don't need Universal Audio hardware to use this plugin. So if you use any other kind of interface, you could use this plugin with your gear. With that said, let's check it out. Great presets in these UAD plugins, and what I want to show you here is just some of the drum presets. They make it very simple to find. Just click on the icon here on the top, and UA has made it very easy to search for specific things, whether you're working on vocals or guitars or drums or what have you. So click on the icon, and then I'm going to pick the drums button, and all kinds of great presets come here. We're going to go for the very first one. 80s snare. Now this is on the whole kit, but this preset sounds great on the whole kit. Here we go. That reminds me of like late 80s, early 90s rock. That sound. Really perfect for that. Another great one here is the fat drum plate. Check this out. Really does great things to the tom and snare. Really beautiful. The next thing I want to show you here, I went back to spreading out the drums to where you're just going to hear verb on the kick, snare, and toms. And specifically this one is just on the toms, but the mics are picking up the whole kit, so you're going to hear a little bit of the verb on the snare and that kind of thing. I'm going to get to that little spot where it's just playing the tom groove and listen to how fat and just huge these toms sound with the Shock the Toms preset. Here we go. Dry. 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Love it, love it, love it. Last but certainly not least in the video here today is a plugin from IK Multimedia. In T-Rax, there's a plugin called the Farm Stone Room. Now, the Farm was the recording studio of the band Genesis, Phil Collins' personal drum room, where some of his most classic songs were recorded. The Phil Collins drum sound in this drum room. You have the verb right here. The folks at IK beautifully modeled this drum room, and you get that reverb sound on your drums. Check this out. The first preset is called 80s. Here you go. Dry right, here we go. Ooh. I backed off a little bit of low end. Man, that sounds really good. I'm going to go back so we can hear a little bit of the regular groove too. Oh, that's a great sound. Dry. A little plain, right? Need some life to it. Yeah, very cool here. Let's find another great preset. One I like quite a bit is the Stone Hall. Dry. Nice, but plain. Oh. Woo. Pull back that low end just a little bit. Give it a little bit of high end. With all of these plugins, they make it so easy to go in while you're listening to your mix and tweak the sound right there. I just pulled back a little bit of low end, gave it a little bit of high end, heard a little bit more crack, a little more snap on the snare. Easy peasy. Last but not least is a great preset in the T-Rax Farm Stone Room plugin. Back to the drums being spread out, reverb just on kick, snare, and toms. In fact, I turned off the kick drum. So just snare and toms. This one's called Bright and Tight. Now, this is not a in-your-face, a ton of reverb, but listen how much the drums just come to life like this. And again, it's just on snare and toms. First, I'll have it off, and then I'll turn it on. Here we go. You hear the fatness? Dry. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. That sound was subtle, not too much, but it really gave a nice bit of weight to the drum sound. Reverbs don't always have to be huge with big long tails and just huge, ambient sounds. Sometimes you want just a little bit of life in the drums to just make them stand out in the song this much more. And there you go, 6 great reverb plugins that sound amazing on drums. Tons of presets, huge amount of options to just dial in your drum track however you see fit. And the creativity factor just gets raised so high by the inspiration of hearing these great tones. If you want any more information about any of these products that I've showed you here today, make sure you go to sweetwater.com, the best website in the business, or reach out to your Sweetwater sales engineer. They'll answer any question you may have so you get exactly what you need the first time. Thanks so much for hanging out, everybody. I'm Nick DiVirgilio, wishing you all the very best.